Okay. In our yesterday's session, we completed cloud computing types, and also we learned some types of operating systems like Unix-based and Linux-based. Linux-based operating systems are Red Hat Linux, CentOS, Fedora, Ubuntu. Okay, these are also called as Linux distributions. Okay, what are Linux distributions? Red Hat Linux, CentOS, Fedora, Ubuntu. These are all called as distributions. And Unix-based operating systems are Solaris, HP Unix, IBM AX. Most of the Linux operating system commands are same. Okay, most of them. Okay, and then we learned a few Linux commands, and also we studied file systems and creating new instance in AWS cloud. Okay, so today we'll be studying on what are the services available in Amazon Web Services. Like most common services provided by Amazon, that too or only for cloud computing professional. Not we are not going to study all services. Okay, and also I will be explaining what is DevOps and what are the DevOps tools to study, and then how much time it takes to become a master in cloud computing, and then professional salary in abroad like US, UK, Canada, those things. Okay, so okay, let me log into the AWS console. Just hold on. Okay, this is a AWS management console. Has anyone created their AWS account? Has anyone created their own AWS account here? Anyone? No one created? No one tried AWS console? Okay. Better you try yourself. Better create a new AWS account and start at least like you will get some knowledge. What are the services available? At least you will get some knowledge on AWS console, AWS cloud. Okay. So let me log in. Let me log into the AWS cloud. Okay. Okay. I just logged into the AWS Management Console or AWS Cloud Platform. So in the services, yesterday we created a new server or instance. Okay. Click on running instances. Okay. Yesterday I have stopped it. Okay. Because I don't want to keep it running because I'm not using it. So I stopped that server. To start it, select it and then restart. This is a new console. Before it was different. Now it is different. Oops, where is the option? Okay, here you go. Click on actions to start a instance state. click on instance state, start instance. It means it will start. It will start running. So if I shut down that machine, I won't get charged. Okay. If the server is running, then only AWS will charge the client. So that is the biggest advantage for organizations. If they are not using any servers, then they don't need to pay AWS. They don't need to pay anything. If they are running and using, then only they have to pay. Right, it's running now. Okay. So let me explain few servers. Before that, let me explain reasons. Okay. So can you see this one? This server is in this region, US West. These are all called as a regions. Okay, regions means areas, simple word. Okay, they have data centers in US East, North Virginia, Ohio, California, or in US and Africa here. And Asia, they have data centers in Hong Kong, Mumbai, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, and they have central in Canada, Europe, all over the world, almost all over the world, they have data centers, AWS. Okay, so why these many data centers means this is one thing is for availability purpose, and another thing is like if my users, for example, aponix.com, okay, www.aponix.com, where are the most of the users access my website from India, correct? From India. So I should create my servers in India only, which is in Mumbai. Here in India, there is only one reason, that is called Mumbai region. Okay, if I create my server here, so users can easily access, means there will be it will be fast little bit. Instead, if my users are in India and if I create my server in US East or somewhere, it takes time, like right, because the very nearest region, the very nearest server is in, could be in Mumbai. Okay, so uh, so I hope you understood what are the reasons, okay, and why you need reasons are very important. For example, a US company will create their servers in US only, and in Asia, or maybe Flipkart or something. Flipkart users or what is that? Snapdeal users are, most of the users are in India. They will create their servers in Asia Pacific, Mumbai, because that is the nearest for them, right? So and then one more service is and billing. I think probably you don't, yeah, but let me explain what is billing. That billing means how much I have used and how much I need to pay for the AWS. So till now this month, this is last month bill. Okay, this is just for EC. This is last month bill. It's in dollars. Okay, all billings, whatever the how much you will be using and how much you need to pay, and the forecast will appear in this section. Okay, and then go back to EC2. Okay, so let me explain what is uh, IAM. Let me now we studied EC2. Let me explain IAM. IAM means Identity Access Management. Identity access management means, for example, this server, who can access this server? Who can access this server? Only myself, means myself, whoever has a root login, they can access. For example, if a database administrator want to access this server, example I'm saying, or a software developer who works in a application team, he wants access to this server. Okay, he don't want access to all the resources. He don't want access to any of these servers. Okay, he want access to only this server in EC2. That time we use IAM. Okay, and for example, database administrator will have access to only storage services, S3. these all access is managed using that IAM. Okay. If you want to search for any uh, services here, you can IAM, manage access to AWS resources. IAM is a resource. Okay. Then using this, welcome to identity access management. So from here, you will be giving access to all your servers or databases or any, depends on their roles. Okay. And then next service is CloudWatch. CloudWatch is nothing but monitoring resources. CloudWatch is another service. Let me check where it is. CloudWatch. CloudWatch. Okay. CloudWatch is a service which can be used to monitor the resources. Resources means like, for example, what if my server goes down? Okay, I need to be alerted, right? Or what if a file system goes above 90%, or what if CPU usage is more than 70%, that I need to be alerted. Okay, for that we use CloudWatch. Okay, so I haven't configured anything now. I haven't configured any. For example, I can configure CPU utilization. If it goes above 50%, alert me. Or if anything, either memory or anything. Okay. Uh, for example, in a database, if it is failed, or a database, if anything is going to be changed, then if you want to be alerted or alarm, you will be using CloudWatch. It is basically, CloudWatch is a service, or it's like a monitoring tool in provided by Amazon, monitoring tool. Okay. So any questions? Did you understand what is CloudWatch? Any questions? Once again, repeat it, sir. Which one? The cloud one? CloudWatch? CloudWatch is a monitoring tool to monitor the resources or monitor the servers. Resources means basically whatever you have configured in the this cloud platform resources. Like as I said, if my server has a, if the server CPU is more than 50% usage, then if I need to be alerted, or if I need a notification, then I will use CloudWatch to configure it. Okay. So I hope you understood. You can configure a lot of things here. Okay, using CloudWatch. And then S3, simple storage service. That also you should know a little bit about S3. Here it is there. S3 means basically a storage, simple service storage. Simple storage service, sorry. So here uh, this storage, usually this will be allocated using buckets. They call them as a bucket. Create a new bucket, something they call is a new word, bucket. Create a new bucket and upload your data. Like, bucket is a nothing but a storage. For example, a bucket of 20 GB, a bucket of 100 GB, a bucket of 1 TB. You create them and then put all your data in that bucket, and then set up your permission. Who can access that bucket? Okay, it's simple. Did you understand what is S3? Simple storage service. Bucket is nothing but a data. Like, you will be creating a bucket of 100 GB, one bucket of 100 GB, and then you will upload your data into that bucket, and then you will set up your permission, who can access that data or bucket. Okay. And then Route 53. Route 53 is a DNS naming system. I think it's like basically it will hold, Route 53 holds all the IP addresses of all the devices. IP address, basically it will manage IP addresses of all the servers in Route 53 DNS naming system. Okay, so it's simple. And apart from EC2, there is one more called as a light cell. Light cell is same as a EC2. Okay, but it is, light cell is usually for small organization to create their instance. Here also you can create new instances. See, our Aponix.com is running in light cell. Aponix.com is running in light cell. Okay, so how to create light cell? Create an instance in EC2 also you can create instance, and in light cell is a service here, Amazon light cell, but it is quicker here it is very quicker. Okay, in EC2 you will be having lot of customization, means you will be having lot of options. Okay, and usually EC2 is for larger organization, and this light cell is for smaller organizations. For example, if you want to create and host your website, create a new instance. Okay, it will just, you are creating instance in Mumbai. Okay, and then pick the instance whether you want a Microsoft or Linux. But here in EC2 you will be having lot of options. Again, in Microsoft Windows also there will be lot of options, and in Linux it will be asking which Linux, Red Hat 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. There will be, here it is simple, select platform. I can select either Microsoft Windows or Linux and select this one. So here in EC2 you don't have option to choose this one, because these are for small organizations. So if I want to host any small website like Aponix.com, I can use WordPress or LAMP or anything. Okay, so usually we have hosted in our Aponix is a Ubuntu server. Okay, so we hosted here. If I click on anything, these are all platforms where you can host your website. These are all platforms. And then choose your instance plan. Okay, you want 1 GB RAM, 1 CPU, like this here. Yeah, can you see this? $5 per month. Okay, 1 GB RAM, 1 CPU, 40 GB hard disk, 1 TB of storage, $5 per month. If I select this one, this is a 2 GB RAM, 1 CPU, 60 GB hard disk, and 1.5 TB hard disk. Like this, there are options up to 160 USD per month. 32 GB RAM, 8 CPUs. It is quicker. Okay, and then just create. If you click on create instance, it will create a new instance for you. Okay, I hope you understood what is light cell. How to connect to this server Aponix? Just click on here, connect. So now it has connected to the server. Okay, but it has connected to that server with the Ubuntu user ID. If you want to log in as a root, sudo su this one. Okay, this is our Aponix website where we have hosted this. Simple. Okay, to come out of this one, click on exit. That's it. Any questions? How we link website? That takes time. That will be you don't need it, because usually website hosting or application installation will be done by application developers, not you, not a system administrator. System administrator job is to create these servers and give it to application server or software developers or database servers. They will do their they will do their job, okay, creating database or creating application, installing applications, writing website, whatever, they will do that one, okay. You don't need to worry, okay. Your as a system administrator or a cloud computing professional, your job is to manage infrastructure. Basically this is all called as an infrastructure, okay. Infrastructure you will be creating up to creating server users, that apart from that installing application, that will be done by developers, okay. In Lightsail you won't get any customer, they have some standards, they have already some. Even in EC2 also you can't choose your own RAM or own CPUs, even in EC2 or Lightsail, okay. Reddy, I did not understand. Sandhya, I did not understand your question. Please ask it again. Okay. So I hope you understand Lightsail. Okay. We studied IAM. You know what is that? IAM, Identity Access Management. Basically, giving access to the resources. We use IAM service, and CloudWatch is a monitoring tool provided by AWS to monitor your servers, storage, applications. Okay, basically monitoring resources. And S3 is a simple storage service where you can create your own storage. Like storage here, they call it as a buckets. You create 100 GB of storage or 100 GB of bucket, and you load your data there and give a permission, okay. And Route 53, the DNS naming system, like it will manage IP addresses of your organization, okay. So next thing is system administration plus. So what, okay, one second, hold on. Okay, yeah. So now you have learned what is system administration, right? And cloud platform, right? System. So to become a cloud computing professional, to make your career perfect, you need to learn system administration plus cloud platform plus DevOps. You know what is system administration, and you know cloud platform. Okay, what are all cloud platforms and which one is more popular, and in terms of system administration, which operating system you need to learn, and which one is the most popular one you already studied. So now let's study on DevOps. Okay, DevOps engineers works with development team and system administration team to deploy softwares or code to reduce downtime, okay, and uh, okay. Also DevOps engineer automate most of these repeated tasks for developers, okay. DevOps engineers works with the development team and system administration team to automate the most of the system administration tasks, or example, installing an application on a server, it has to be automated. That will be done by DevOps engineer using the automation tools, okay. So uh, can you see, I think not shared, I think, hold on one second. Can you see this screen? Okay. I think previously this screen was not shared. Not sure if I had shared it or not. Okay. So anyway, DevOps engineers works with the development team and system administration team to deploy softwares or code, and to automate the repeated task for developers. Okay, so next is, so in DevOps, it is a cycle, basically cycle of software development. Like first stage is, for example, if you want to create a new application, what needs to be done first? It has to be planned. Okay, who will plan that? Plan to develop an application that will be done by solutions architect, and then once they plan means how that new software application should work, then it has to be developed, or it has to be written, or it has to be coded. Who does that coding? Software developers will do the coding, right? Second stage, planning is done, and then coding is done, and then building means integrate. Once the code is written by software developers, it has to be integrate all code and build it has to be integrated all the code. That is also done by software developers. Okay, and then test the application, that will be done by developers, software testers, and then DevOps engineers will help developers and testing engineers to test an application. Like basically they will be helping developers and test engineers to automate this testing process. Okay, DevOps engineers are helping software developers and testing engineers to automate the testing process in this stage, testing. Okay, and next stage is integration and deployment. Okay, now the code is ready. In third stage, in building, code is integrated, means sorry, yeah, third one is building means integrating all code, and fourth stage is testing, test an entire application, and then it has to be moved into a live environment. Okay, live environment means production environment, integration and deployment. Okay, they have to move that code to the production environment. That will be done by DevOps engineers. DevOps engineers. Okay, and next stage is operating. Once the application is live, and that has to be like say operating, like basic monitoring, and any changes to be done in the server side or anything operations going on. That time system administrator will look after that. Okay, and then again monitoring team will be continuously monitoring that software application for any issues. Okay, if any issues comes up, they will inform to DevOps engineers or developers or system administrator based on the type of issues. Okay, this is like a life cycle. Again, okay. Do you have any questions? And if you want me to explain a simple truth, let me explain in giving one simple example. You use net banking, right? Net banking. Yeah. Do you use net banking? Do you use net banking? Okay, very good. So you're listening to me. You don't know. Venkatesh, net banking is nothing but a banking. Like if you want to transfer money to another account, you will log into the bank and then you will be transferring. That is called as a net banking. Okay. Google Pay, Phone Pay, yeah, that's good. Those are very latest trend. Google Pay, Phone Pay. Before these Google Pay, Phone Pay, people used to do using a net banking, like log into a bank and enter the account number and transfer it. Okay, right. Okay, so for example, when you use a net banking, for example, okay, net banking is a banking application used by customers to manage their bank accounts. In the backend, lot of software developers from bank will be working continuously to fix any issues arises. Okay, so because net banking itself is an application, software application. Okay, and in the backend, lot of the software developers from the bank will be working continuously to fix any issues. For example, when you are using net banking, some error comes because of some programming error. That time, software developers have to fix it, right? So so think a new feature has to be added in a net banking application. A new feature means new functionality has to be added in a net banking application. Example, I'm saying, for example, think you can take either net banking application or any software application. Think a new functionality has to be added in a one software application. What it has to be done first? First developer has to write a code, correct? First developer has to write a code, and this writing new code will be distributed among few developers. Only one developer will not write all the functionality. It will be distributed to 10 to 15 developers. One developer writes some code and another developer writes another part of code. So these are all developers code has to be integrated first, right? Once, for example, they have 10 software developers, and it has to be that new functionality code will be written by these 10 developers, and then it has to be integrated, all 10 codes to be integrated. Okay, and to integrate this code, they use a version control software, or famous one is a Git software. They use a Git software, version control software. Okay, this is called as a continuous integration. You might have heard of CI and CD, probably not heard. CI and CD, continuous integration and continuous development. Continuous integration means 10 developers write small piece of codes, all 10 developers. All those 10 pieces of code has to be integrated to one to make it a complete feature, right? This is called as a continuous integration process. Okay, and once new code is integrated, it will be tested using the test scripts. These scripts will be written by software testing engineers or software developers. Okay, but running these scripts will be automated by DevOps engineers, development operations engineers. Running these scripts will be automated by DevOps engineer, because these test script cannot be run manually every time. It has to be automated. Okay, that automation will be done by a DevOps engineer. Okay, and once that new feature code is tested, then it has to be deployed into a production or any environment. It has to be deployed. This process is called as a CD, continuous deployment. Okay, continuous integration means integrating all piece of codes, piece of programs, piece of code, and continuous deployment means deploying softwares into a production or test or development environment. Deployment. Okay, in this deployment process, DevOps engineer has to use few tools like Jenkins is an automation server to automate running test scripts. Okay, so I think if I say more, you will get confusion. Definitely you will get confusion. But thing main important is DevOps engineer role is to automate the tasks, automate the stuff using few tools. What are those tools? These are the tools: Git, Jenkins, Ansible, Chef, or Puppet. These are all automation tools. These tools will be used by DevOps engineer to automate the tasks, basically. Okay. Any questions? Did you understand what is the role of a DevOps engineer? Okay. Any questions? No questions. Did you really understand? Yes, these are the tools to integrate. These are the tools to automate the tasks. DevOps in short overview means router comes in networking. You don't need to deal with the router here, router or switches or anything. That job will be done by a networking engineer. How many AWS accounts we can create? As many as you want. Each account will be linked to one debit card only. If you have 100 debit cards, you can create 100 AWS accounts. Any questions? Short description of DevOps. Okay. You need a definition, I think. DevOps definition. There is no proper DevOps definition, but DevOps engineers, I can tell you the roles. DevOps description is development plus operations. A person who works with the development team and operations team is called as a DevOps engineer, okay, or a DevOps consultant, whose main job is to automate the tasks. His primary job is to automate most of the repeated tasks for developers. How DevOps related to cloud computing? Yeah, that's the main question. Okay. So in cloud computing, what I did now, I created one server, right? I created one server. Who uses that? Who uses that server? Why I created that server first? Why I need that server? To uh, install one software application. Okay. For example, one organization want to install a software application. For that, they need a server, and I created one server. And who will install that software application? Software developer will install that software application. Okay, it is not one time, it is just a simple. Okay, if there are 100 servers, example, there in HSBC where I was working, there were more than 1 lakh servers, more than in cloud, more than 1 lakh servers for different applications. I just created one servers. They may ask to create 50 servers at a time, 50 servers at a time. So can you do this same stuff, click 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 50 times? No, right? And also, after creating that server, you need to assign IP address, you need to install few packages, you need to install few patches, and you need to assign an IP address, and and you need to set some settings or parameters. This cannot be done manually. It takes a lot of time. That time DevOps will come, DevOps engineer will come. That time, DevOps engineer will do this automation, creating 50 servers and assigning 50 IP addresses and creating a specific user in each of the server and installing packages or patches in each of the servers and then configuring anything settings, that he will do all this automation. He does automation. DevOps. For that, he should know Jenkins and Ansible. Jenkins is an automation server used by DevOps engineer. Ansible is a configuration management tool. Okay. I hope now you understood how DevOps related to cloud computing. These servers are in cloud basically, right? These servers are in cloud. That those servers creating application installation, that should be automated. That will be done by DevOps engineer using automation tools like Jenkins, Ansible, Chef, or Puppet. You got your answer, Preeti? I think yes. One write code in C and someone in C++ to integrate those and build software. No, one software application has to be written in one language. For example, if software one writes in C, one another, that they cannot be integrated. It has to be written in one only, either Java, Python, that one, and then integrated. You don't need to worry about which languages they use for developing software. You don't need to. We are not doing that. We are not concentrating on how that software development happens. We should have some basic fair knowledge. That's it. We don't go in depth of the development side. We don't. DevOps engineer or cloud computing engineer, they should not be knowing these things. Okay, how to write which line and how to fix application, that we don't need to worry. Okay. Akshay, okay, let me do how to access the server that you created yesterday. Okay, let me see if that server is running. Okay. How do you access? It is simple. Here, go to here. Can you see that? Can you see? Click here, go to connect. Okay, there are, you can connect to this server in three types. Yeah, I mean in three methods. One is EC2 client does not have a public IP address. One is using session manager. One is through SSH client. One is through IP address. Okay, so let me connect using SSH client. Okay, so to connect via to SSH client, I'm using Mac. Okay, so if you are using Windows machine, you need a one what is that client, SSH client. Example, putty or putty. Okay, you need a putty. Yes, that is called a SSH client. Okay, you need to install that putty and then configure it. Okay, yesterday I have created this server and its IP address is 10 dot something like this. And how to connect, example is written here. Go to the Unix terminal. Okay, go to terminal and type ssh-i. That is testing.pem is a, yesterday if you remember, I downloaded one key pair. I downloaded that file name is a testing.pem file name, and EC2 user is a default user, and this is a IP address. Okay, this is the IP address for this server. Okay, how do you connect this one? This is how you need to connect. Any questions? Any questions? I hope you understood what is cloud and what is DevOps, what is system administration. Do you have any questions in these three? Do you have any questions? System administration, you understood? How is IP managed? How is IP managed means? I did not understand what is that. I have shown you how to connect already. Okay. Connecting, I need to open my terminal, and that will take time. Okay. You can try it. It's not big task connecting to that server. It is not big task. Okay. You can easily connect. Yes, cloud servers, all servers have a firewalls. Let me show you one more important thing before that one. How do you, okay, EC2 server. When you connect, when you create a new servers, okay, when you create a new server, okay, this is server. When you, I think you understood before these things. Okay, this is a private IP. Okay, and instance type is T2 micro and other stuff. Okay, usually there will be one configuration where it is. Go to networking. Security, yeah, security group. When you create any new server, you will get one security group. You can assign it to existing security group or create a new security group. Security group is uh, nothing but who should access this server and which ports should allow. Whether this port is allowed or not, you can manage using ports using security groups. For example, inbound rules for this is all related to this server. Now in this server, this port is open 22. That's why I can connect to SSH. If I close this port also, I cannot connect to using 22. And for example, if a website is hosted on this server, to access that website, you need a port number 80 should be open. That you will be using, that you can manage using this one. For example, HTTP. Port name will come here. Okay, who can access this? Custom, who can? If I put 0000 means everyone can access, everyone. Or if I can access any specific IP address or anything, I can type it here. Who can access this server? And if I click on add role, it will add. Okay, it is added. I can save rules. Right now, it has come HTTP TCP. So now only website is allowed. Only HTTP port is open for this server. So if you have any issues related to connecting to that server, you should come to security groups and check the settings here. Important. Yeah? So, right. Right. Okay. So system administrator, to become system administrator, learn few operating system. Widely used server-based operating system is Linux, that too Red Hat Linux, and you should learn basics of networking. And then learn at least one cloud platform, either AWS or Google or Microsoft Azure. AWS jobs are more, means widely used cloud platform is AWS, Amazon Web Service, widely used. So you should learn AWS. And then once you learn this AWS, it will be really easy to learn other cloud platform, GCP, that is Google cloud platform, and Microsoft Azure. It will be really easy. And then DevOps tools. DevOps tools, I explained what is a DevOps engineer role, and you should learn Git, how to use the Git version control software. We should study how to use automation tools, Jenkins, Docker, Maven. These are all automation tools. Okay. Okay. So how much time it takes to study these things? System administration, how much time it takes? System administration, it takes at least 2 months if you study 2 hours per day. In system administration, that too in Linux system administration, you will be learning user management, file system management, package management, patch management, understanding DNS, DSCP, NFS, and also handling files. This is all part of a system administration. Okay, you need to learn routing table, IP address, and server configuration, etc. Okay, and then AWS Cloud will take hardly 1 month. 1 month. Okay. So in AWS, you will be learning that, as I said, know how to create new instances, configuration, those things. AWS cloud terminologies and working with Route 53, AWS storage, and IAM, how to use IAM, how to give access to the resources, and also you will be learning CloudWatch, how to configure CloudWatch to monitor the resources, and then what is VPC and how to use it, and then AWS RDS, those things, and then DevOps. That also takes 1 month. Okay, in DevOps, that's 40 hours course basically. Okay, and you will be learning software development lifecycle, DevOps goals, working with Git and automation using Ansible. Okay. Uh, and then you will be studying CI and CD, continuous integration and continuous development. And then apart from those three things, you should also know these things, which only Aponix Technologies provides. Okay, how DevOps or system administrator team works in an organization. Just studying these things probably may not be, although but if apart from these things, apart from system administration, AWS cloud and DevOps, we should also study these things, other tools and processes. That takes another 20 hours of sessions. Usually this will be covered by me. Okay, and you will be learning change management, types of environments, incident management, teams in an organization, and what is L1, L2, L3 support, and what is SME, and what is his job role, subject matter expert, and you need to know few backup and recovery tools, and also you should know how ticketing system work in a company, and you should know few basic monitoring tools used in organizations, and then you should know few storage networks, storage devices like IBM EMC. Okay, and overview of databases, what are the types of databases and how to access those things. Okay, and apart from this also you will be studying email communication, HR interview questions and answers, preparing for a non-rejectable resume. Okay, and how to get noticed and shortlisted by a recruiter, do's and don'ts in an interview, after getting job what to do, those all I will be covering. Okay, so total it takes around 5 months. System administration 2 months, AWS cloud 1 month, DevOps 1 month, self-learning and practice 1 more month. That's at least 5 months of study. So average salary for a cloud professional in India is 8 lakh per annum. Average for freshers it will be at least 3.5 lakhs per annum, and average abroad like US or Canada $125,000. That nearly around 1 crore per year in many countries. In UK, I have shown you already. It will be 500 pounds per day for contractors, and for full-time employees it will be at least 70 to 80,000 pounds per year. That is around another 80 lakhs or something. Okay, because there are a lot of job opportunities plus very high demanding. So what job roles you can apply for after completing this course? Unix system administrator, Linux system administrator, Unix engineer, cloud administrator, and DevOps engineer, Unix production support engineer, Unix support engineer, Linux server administrator. These are all related to cloud professional category. Okay, AWS cloud engineer, and these are all job roles you can apply for nearly, right? So